Imagine this: you're standing at the edge of a towering cliff, the vastness of the world stretching out below. Now, picture letting go of everything you're clinging to, your fears, your worries, your expectations. In that moment, a profound sense of peace washes over you, unexpected yet deeply freeing. Buddha once said, "Let go over a cliff, die completely, and then come back to life." After that, you cannot be deceived. What does this mean? It's not about a literal cliff, it's about the cliffs within us, the places where we hold on so tightly to what we think we must control. Today, we're diving into 13 Buddhist principles that illuminate this journey of letting go, of learning to live without forcing things, without fighting the natural flow of life. These principles aren't just words from ancient texts, they're deeply practical, transformative guides that help us navigate the demands, stress, and expectations we encounter every day. Imagine living in a way where peace and harmony aren't things you have to chase or struggle to achieve, but simply a way of being. Whether it's managing work, relationships, or our personal battles, these principles offer a path to move through life with more grace, more calm, and a genuine sense of freedom. Together, let's explore this wisdom, so we can understand how to let go, live fully, and create space for a peace that doesn't need to be forced or controlled. Are you ready to take the first step on this journey? Let's dive in and uncover how to truly let go. Principle 1: Non-attachment. Let's begin our journey with one of Buddhism's most foundational principles, non-attachment. What does it truly mean to practice non-attachment? It's about learning to loosen the grip we often have on people, possessions, outcomes, and expectations. In a world that constantly tells us to strive for success, to hold on tight to what we have, and to work towards specific goals, the idea of letting go can feel almost counterintuitive. But this is where true freedom begins. Picture this: you've poured your heart into a project at work, stayed late, maybe even sacrificed your personal time, all for the hope of a promotion or recognition. You've done everything you can. And naturally, you begin to envision the reward, a step up the ladder, acknowledgement, maybe even a bonus. But what if, despite all this, the promotion doesn't happen? Suddenly, all that effort feels almost wasted, doesn't it? This is where non-attachment comes in. It teaches us that while it's natural to desire good outcomes, we should focus more on the effort and the experience itself rather than the result. Non-attachment invites us to give our best, to engage deeply, but to also understand that we can't control every outcome. It's about appreciating the journey, valuing the skills we gain, the lessons learned, and the growth that comes from the process itself, irrespective of the end result. By practicing non-attachment, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster that often comes with unmet expectations. We become less burdened by the need to control every detail, and instead, we become open to whatever unfolds. Imagine how much lighter, less stressed, and more fulfilled we would feel if we weren't tethered to every outcome we desire. This isn't about giving up on dreams or goals, it's about holding them lightly, about allowing life to surprise us. When we learn to let go of rigid expectations, we create space for new experiences, unexpected opportunities, and deeper connections. Non-attachment doesn't mean we care any less, it simply means we've learned to care without being bound by the outcome. And in this practice, we find a genuine sense of peace and resilience, knowing that we are strong enough to handle whatever comes our way. So, as we move forward, let's take a moment to reflect. Where in our lives are we holding on too tightly? Can we begin to shift our focus from the end result to the richness of the journey itself? In doing so, we open ourselves up to a life of balance, ease, and a fulfillment that no specific outcome can provide. Principle 2: Mindfulness. Let's move on to another cornerstone of Buddhist practice, mindfulness. In today's fast-paced world, mindfulness might sound like a luxury, a rare moment when we can pause and catch our breath. But in Buddhism, mindfulness is not just a practice, it's a way of living, an invitation to be fully present in each moment, noticing our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. Imagine this: it's early morning, and you're holding a warm cup of coffee. Typically, we might sip it while scrolling through emails, mentally racing through the day's to-do list. But what if, just for a few moments, you set all distractions aside? You feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. Breathe in the comforting aroma, and take that first sip, noticing the taste, the temperature, even the gentle steam rising from the cup. In that simple act of drinking coffee mindfully, you experience a moment of peace, a sense of calm that is grounding, reassuring, and real. This is mindfulness in action. It's about slowing down enough to actually experience what's happening around us and within us. When we're mindful, we're not lost in thoughts about the past or anxieties about the future. Instead, we're fully alive in the present. And in doing so, we allow ourselves to experience life with a clarity that is often missing in the rush and noise of our daily routines. Think about the difference this could make in other parts of your day. During a conversation, for example, practicing mindfulness would mean giving your full attention to the person in front of you, listening not just to their words but to their tone, their expressions, and the emotions behind their words. Instead of thinking about how to respond, you're truly present, absorbing the moment. This kind of mindful listening deepens our connections, showing others that they are seen and heard. Mindfulness is more than just noticing the good moments, it also helps us face life's challenges with resilience. If you're stuck in traffic, mindfulness allows you to notice the tension building in your shoulders, the impatience stirring in your mind, and then gently guides you to breathe, to relax, and to release the stress you're carrying. It's a reminder that, while we may not be able to control every situation, we can control how we respond to it. In practicing mindfulness, we learn to let go of the anxious habit of constantly dwelling on what we need to do next or replaying things from the past. We train ourselves to live fully in the moment, and as we do, we find a peace that's not dependent on external circumstances. We become less reactive, more compassionate, and more connected to ourselves and others. So, here's a question to consider: what would it look like to practice mindfulness in one small part of your day? Perhaps it's during your morning coffee, or while taking a few deep breaths before a meeting, or even savoring the stillness at the end of the day. Each mindful moment brings us closer to ourselves, allowing us to appreciate the beauty of simply being alive in the here and now. Principle 3: Acceptance. Next, let's explore the profound principle of acceptance. In Buddhism, acceptance isn't about passive resignation or giving up on dreams or goals. Rather, it's about embracing life as it is, allowing things to unfold naturally without trying to force them to fit our expectations. Acceptance means understanding that while we can shape our lives to some extent, there will always be things beyond our control, and finding peace within that reality is a powerful gift we can give ourselves. Imagine this: you've planned a picnic, a perfect day outdoors with friends or family, full of good food, laughter, and sunshine. But as you lay out the blanket and unpack the food, dark clouds gather, and soon enough, it starts pouring rain. It's natural to feel disappointed. After all, this wasn't what you imagined. But acceptance invites us to respond differently. Instead of feeling frustrated or upset, we can choose to adjust with grace, finding joy in the unexpected. Maybe it's cozying up under a sheltered spot, sharing stories while listening to the soothing sound of rain, and letting the moment unfold as it is. This is the heart of acceptance: to let go of resistance to what should be and instead embrace what is. So often, we waste energy fighting against the reality of our circumstances, wishing things were different, or clinging to a picture-perfect vision in our minds. But by accepting life's twists and turns, we open ourselves to a sense of peace that isn't dependent on everything going our way. Acceptance doesn't mean we're passive in life or that we settle for less. It means that we approach life with flexibility, responding to change rather than resisting it. When we accept the reality of a situation, we free ourselves from the mental burden of wishing it were different. In turn, we find more room for joy, gratitude, and even a sense of adventure in the unpredictability of life. And this principle isn't just for big moments, it's for the little ones too. Imagine a friend who is always running late. Instead of constantly feeling frustrated, acceptance helps us adjust our expectations. Perhaps we bring a book or take a few deep breaths while we wait, finding a sense of calm rather than annoyance. Acceptance transforms how we approach the world, allowing us to flow with it rather than push against it. By practicing acceptance, we cultivate resilience, the ability to meet life's changes and challenges with a calm and open heart. It brings us closer to a peace that doesn't depend on the perfection of our plans but instead on our willingness to embrace each moment as it comes. So, the next time life takes an unexpected turn, can we pause, take a breath, and consider what it might look like to respond with acceptance? This simple shift can make even the most unpredictable moments feel meaningful, and sometimes, even beautiful. Principle 4, Patience. Now, let's explore a virtue that feels increasingly rare in today's fast-paced world, patience. In Buddhist teaching, patience isn't just about waiting for things to happen, it's about aligning ourselves with life's natural rhythm and understanding that all meaningful growth takes time. Patience teaches us to let things unfold at their own pace, rather than rushing or forcing outcomes. It's a quiet strength that grounds us, allowing us to move through life with grace. Think about the process of learning something new, like picking up a new language. At first, it's exciting. You might learn a few phrases, practice pronunciation, and feel motivated. But soon, you hit a wall. The grammar feels complex, the vocabulary endless, and progress seems painfully slow. It's easy to become frustrated, to feel like giving up. But this is where patience becomes invaluable. By embracing each small step forward, each word learned, each sentence practiced, you're building something profound. You're not just learning a language, you're building resilience, confidence, and a deep appreciation for the process itself. Patience invites us to celebrate small victories instead of focusing solely on the end goal. Imagine the difference this could make in other areas of life. When we work toward any goal, whether it's a career milestone, a fitness goal, or a personal project, progress often feels slow, and the temptation to quit can be strong. But with patience, we learn to pace ourselves, to embrace each moment of growth, no matter how small it may seem. We start to see that each step, however small, contributes to the bigger journey. This principle of patience reminds us that we don't need to rush through life or constantly seek immediate results. In fact, some of life's most valuable lessons and experiences come when we allow things to develop in their own time. Patience teaches us to savor the journey, to be present with the process instead of fixating on the finish line. It helps us let go of the urge to force outcomes and instead, trust that the work we're putting in now will lead us to where we need to be. By practicing patience, we cultivate a sense of calm and stability within ourselves. We become less affected by the constant pressure to achieve more, to be faster, to keep up with others. Instead, we find a steady, peaceful rhythm in our own lives. We learn to honor the time it takes to grow, to change, and to become who we are meant to be. So, let's ask ourselves, what would it feel like to practice patience in one area of our life today? Maybe it's allowing ourselves to take small steps towards a big dream, trusting that each effort builds on the last. Or perhaps it's simply being kinder to ourselves when progress feels slow. Patience isn't just about waiting, it's about waiting with faith, trusting that meaningful growth takes time, and embracing the beauty of life's natural pace. Principle 5, Simplicity. Let's turn now to a principle that speaks directly to the heart of inner peace, simplicity. In Buddhism, simplicity is not just about living with less, it's about creating space to breathe, to focus, and to truly experience what matters most. Simplicity invites us to clear away what doesn't serve us, to let go of the excess that often distracts us, and to reconnect with what brings genuine meaning to our lives. Imagine walking into a cluttered room, filled with items you no longer need or use. There's an instant feeling of overwhelm, isn't there? Now, picture that same room after it's been thoughtfully decluttered. The surfaces are clear, the shelves hold only what's meaningful. And the space feels lighter, more open. This act of decluttering isn't just about organizing a room, it's about creating mental clarity. By letting go of what we don't truly need, we make room for what genuinely enriches our lives. Simplicity teaches us that fulfillment doesn't come from accumulating more but from appreciating what we already have. It's not about emptying our lives but rather choosing carefully what fills them. In today's world, we're surrounded by a constant stream of things to buy, tasks to accomplish, and goals to chase. It's easy to get lost in the noise, to feel as though we need more in order to feel complete. But simplicity asks us to pause and consider what truly brings us joy, and what merely distracts us from that joy. This principle of simplicity doesn't just apply to physical spaces. It can be a guiding force in all aspects of our lives. Think about relationships, for instance. When we focus on fewer, deeper connections, we often find more fulfillment than if we were to spread ourselves thin across countless acquaintances. Or consider our schedules. When we strip away commitments that don't align with our values or goals, we create time for the experiences and people that truly matter to us. Simplicity invites us to reclaim our time, our energy, and our attention. It's a way of saying yes to what truly enriches us and a gentle but firm no to what only clutters our minds and hearts. By simplifying our lives, we make room for more presence, more intentionality, and more joy. We create space to focus on our well-being, to nurture our relationships, and to pursue passions that light up our souls. So, what might it look like to bring simplicity into our lives today? Maybe it's letting go of items that no longer serve a purpose. Maybe it's clearing out mental clutter by setting aside time for reflection. Or perhaps it's as simple as turning off our devices for a few minutes to sit quietly with our thoughts. Simplicity isn't about deprivation, it's about liberation. It's about making room for what matters, so we can live with a sense of peace and fulfillment that isn't weighed down by excess. In choosing simplicity, we honor the idea that less can indeed be more. We create a life filled not with things, but with experiences, connections, and moments that add real value. And in doing so, we find that a simpler life is a richer, more meaningful life. Principle 6. Compassion. Let's delve into a principle that lies at the very heart of Buddhist practice: compassion. Compassion is more than just feeling sympathy, it's empathy in action, the ability to connect deeply with others and extend kindness in ways that uplift and heal. In a world that often emphasizes individual success and competition, compassion invites us to step beyond our own concerns and to consider the needs and struggles of those around us. In doing so, we not only uplift others but also experience a profound sense of fulfillment and peace within ourselves. Imagine this: a coworker makes a mistake that impacts your own work. Your first reaction might be frustration or even anger. After all, their error has created more work for you, disrupted your plans, and added stress to your day. But compassion offers a different path. Instead of responding with frustration, you choose to pause, understand the situation, and offer support. Perhaps this coworker was going through a difficult time, or perhaps they were simply overwhelmed. By showing kindness and understanding, you strengthen your relationship and foster a supportive, empathetic work environment. This act of compassion isn't just beneficial for the person on the receiving end, it also profoundly impacts you. When we respond with compassion, we break the cycle of stress and negativity that often follows moments of frustration. Compassion allows us to let go of anger and resentment, replacing them with a sense of connection and shared humanity. It's a reminder that we're all doing our best, often struggling with challenges unseen by others. Compassion is powerful because it creates positive cycles of kindness. When we show compassion to others, it often inspires them to extend that same kindness to others in return. This ripple effect spreads beyond the immediate moment, transforming our relationships and even our communities. Imagine a world where, in times of conflict, we paused and asked ourselves, how can I respond with compassion? This simple shift could change the way we interact, making us more open-hearted, forgiving, and resilient. Practicing compassion doesn't mean we ignore our own needs or become overly self-sacrificing. Instead, it's about recognizing that kindness is a gift that enriches both the giver and the receiver. When we respond to others with understanding, we reduce our own stress and anxiety, creating a sense of calm and peace. Compassion encourages us to let go of harsh judgments and to see others, and ourselves, with a kinder, more forgiving gaze. Incorporating compassion into our lives can be as simple as pausing before we react, as choosing understanding over anger, and as offering a helping hand to someone in need. By making compassion a guiding force, we open our hearts, reduce our personal stress, and nurture the bonds that connect us to one another. We begin to see that compassion isn't just an act, it's a way of being, a way of moving through the world with gentleness and grace. So, the next time someone makes a mistake or does something that frustrates you, consider responding with compassion. Take a moment to understand their perspective, to offer a word of kindness or support. This small act has the power to transform not only the other person's day but also your own, leaving both of you uplifted and more connected. In practicing compassion, we create a world that is a little bit softer, a little bit more understanding, and infinitely more beautiful. Principle 7. Insight. Let's explore the transformative power of insight. In Buddhist philosophy, insight is much more than knowledge, it's a deep, inner understanding that arises from self-awareness. Insight allows us to see ourselves and our patterns clearly, giving us the tools to break free from cycles that no longer serve us. It's through insight that we truly understand the roots of our thoughts and behaviors, and this understanding brings about genuine, lasting change. One of the primary ways to cultivate insight is through meditation. Imagine sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, letting thoughts come and go without attachment. Over time, you begin to notice patterns in your mind, perhaps an underlying anxiety about the future. A subtle habit of worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Without insight, these worries remain a constant background noise, shaping your actions and emotions without your full awareness. But with insight, you start to see these patterns for what they are. You realize that your mind tends to drift into worry as a way of feeling prepared or in control, even if those worries don't serve any real purpose. This simple awareness, this insight, creates space for change. You can begin to address these habits, to let go of unnecessary worry, and to find peace in the present moment. Insight helps us break unproductive cycles. Once we become aware of the thoughts and behaviors that hold us back, we're no longer at their mercy. Insight gives us the power to choose a different path, to respond to life in ways that are more aligned with our true values and intentions. Instead of being swept along by unconscious habits, we become active participants in our own lives. This kind of self-awareness doesn't just help us let go of worry or anxiety, it can touch every aspect of our lives. With insight, we begin to notice the motivations behind our actions, the sources of our reactions, and the emotions that drive us. Maybe we see a tendency to seek validation from others, or perhaps we realize that we often react defensively when criticized. Whatever the pattern, insight allows us to understand and address it, transforming our lives from the inside out. Insight leads to lasting personal growth because it roots our changes in understanding rather than sheer willpower. When we see clearly why we act a certain way, it's easier to shift those behaviors. The clarity that comes from insight is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, we see what's been there all along, and with that vision comes the power to create change. Imagine what life could be like if, rather than reacting impulsively, you responded with awareness. Each insight gained through self-awareness frees you from the grip of old patterns, helping you to approach life with a more open, calm, and grounded mind. This doesn't mean we won't ever feel stressed or anxious, but it does mean we'll understand those feelings more deeply, and we'll have the tools to navigate them with wisdom and compassion. So, how can we begin to cultivate this insight? Start small. Dedicate just a few minutes each day to sitting quietly, observing your thoughts and feelings. You don't have to analyze or fix anything, just notice. Over time, these moments of awareness will deepen, revealing patterns and insights that lead to profound self-understanding. And with each new insight, you step closer to a life of clarity, growth, and inner peace. Principle 8, Impermanence. Let's dive into a profound principle that lies at the very core of Buddhist teachings, impermanence. Impermanence reminds us of a simple yet powerful truth: everything changes. Nothing remains the same, whether it's our experiences, our relationships, or even ourselves. This might sound unsettling at first, but embracing impermanence offers us a unique freedom, helping us move through life with grace and adaptability. When we truly understand that change is inevitable, we can stop resisting it and start flowing with it, savoring each moment as it comes. Think about a favorite vacation spot, a place you've returned to over the years. Each time you visit, the landscape might look a bit different, the people may have changed, and even your own experiences there evolve with each trip. At first, it might be tempting to wish for things to stay exactly as they were in your favorite memory. But by accepting that each visit will bring something new, you open yourself up to enjoy these changes. You find yourself noticing new details, appreciating the different ways this place makes you feel, and embracing it just as it is in that particular moment. Each visit becomes a new adventure, filled with fresh beauty and unique memories. Impermanence teaches us to hold life lightly, to appreciate each moment fully without clinging to it. When we understand that things will change, we're less likely to take moments for granted. Instead, we learn to savor the present, knowing that it, too, will pass. This understanding allows us to experience life more deeply, with gratitude for what is here now and a willingness to let go when it's time. This principle isn't limited to places or experiences, it extends to our relationships, our goals, and even our sense of self. When we understand that people change and evolve, we approach our relationships with greater acceptance and compassion. We stop holding on to rigid expectations of how others should be, allowing them to grow and change just as we do. Impermanence teaches us that clinging tightly to anything, be it a person, a moment, or a goal, leads to suffering. But when we let go of the need to control, we experience a more natural, flowing connection with life. Embracing impermanence doesn't mean we don't care or that we're indifferent to loss. In fact, it's the opposite. It allows us to care more deeply, knowing that each moment is precious precisely because it is fleeting. We cherish our experiences and relationships without trying to freeze them in time. We find beauty in the constant evolution of life, knowing that every end is also a new beginning. Imagine how this understanding could impact the way we approach everyday life. Instead of fearing change or clinging to what's familiar, we might see change as an opportunity for growth and discovery. We might welcome new experiences and learn to adapt with resilience. Each moment becomes an invitation to be fully present, to appreciate what is, and to release it gracefully when it's time. So, as we reflect on impermanence, let's ask ourselves, what in our lives are we holding on to too tightly? Can we begin to soften our grip, to appreciate the here and now without demanding that it stay the same? By embracing impermanence, we allow ourselves to live with a lightness and openness that brings true peace. We learn to welcome each chapter of life with gratitude, knowing that change is not an enemy, but a natural, beautiful part of the journey. Principle 9, Detachment. Next, let's explore the principle of detachment. In Buddhism, detachment isn't about withdrawing from life or avoiding feelings, rather, it's about finding a steady center within ourselves that isn't dependent on external circumstances. Detachment teaches us that true happiness and self-worth aren't defined by external achievements, outcomes, or other people's opinions. Instead, they come from within. This inner stability allows us to face life's highs and lows with grace, remaining balanced no matter what comes our way. Imagine you've been working incredibly hard for a promotion. You've put in extra hours, gone above and beyond, and given it everything you have. Naturally, you begin to hope for the reward of recognition and advancement. But then, despite your best efforts, the promotion goes to someone else. In a moment like this, it's easy to feel disappointed, hurt, or even question your worth. Detachment, however, offers us a different perspective. With detachment, you acknowledge the disappointment but don't let it define you. You recognize that, while it's natural to desire rewards for your efforts, your true value isn't dependent on this promotion or any external validation. You understand that your worth isn't tied to a job title or acknowledgement from others. This perspective allows you to move forward with resilience, appreciating your hard work and the skills you've developed, regardless of the outcome. Detachment is a powerful tool for emotional balance. It helps us avoid the emotional roller coaster of highs and lows based on fleeting circumstances. Life is full of moments that can lift us up or knock us down: relationships, career achievements, personal goals. If our happiness depends solely on these external factors, we're at the mercy of things we can't always control. Detachment gives us the freedom to enjoy life's blessings and accept its challenges without becoming overwhelmed by them. Detachment doesn't mean we stop caring or that we don't feel emotions. Instead, it means that we approach life with a calm, grounded awareness. We still experience joy, excitement, disappointment, and sadness, but we don't allow these emotions to completely define our sense of self or our worth. We cultivate an inner anchor, a steady presence within ourselves that remains strong and peaceful amidst the shifting waves of life. This kind of inner balance allows us to engage fully in life without becoming overly attached to specific outcomes. It frees us to pursue our goals, build meaningful relationships, and face challenges with resilience, knowing that our core happiness isn't dependent on everything going exactly as planned. We become more adaptable, able to face change and uncertainty with confidence. So, how can we begin to practice detachment? Start by noticing where you're placing your sense of worth. Are you relying on external achievements, recognition, or approval to feel complete? If so, try shifting that focus inward. Remind yourself that your value isn't defined by what you accomplish or how others see you. Detachment is about finding peace within yourself, a peace that isn't easily shaken by the ups and downs of life. As we embrace detachment, we learn to live more freely, no longer tied to outcomes or dependent on others for our happiness. We find a steady joy in the simple act of being. And in doing so, we become better equipped to handle whatever life brings our way. This steady heart allows us to experience the beauty of life's highs and lows without losing our center, helping us to live with a balance, resilience, and a deep-rooted peace. Principle 10, Inner Peace. Now let's turn to a principle that many of us seek but often find elusive: inner peace. Inner peace is about cultivating a calm, steady center within ourselves that remains undisturbed by the ups and downs of external circumstances. It's the quiet strength that allows us to navigate life's challenges without losing our balance, a refuge of calm that we can turn to no matter what life brings our way. Imagine a situation where you find yourself in a heated conflict. Perhaps someone has said something hurtful, or there's a misunderstanding that's escalating quickly. In moments like this, it's natural to feel an urge to react, to defend yourself, raise your voice, or meet anger with anger. But inner peace offers a different approach. Instead of reacting impulsively, you take a deep breath and choose to respond calmly. You listen, you consider, and you speak thoughtfully, addressing the issue without letting it consume your emotions. By doing so, you not only diffuse the tension in the situation but also protect your own sense of peace. Inner peace doesn't mean we avoid all conflicts or that we never feel strong emotions. Rather, it means that we approach these situations from a place of balance and awareness. When we cultivate inner peace, we give ourselves the freedom to respond to life's challenges with clarity and patience. We're no longer thrown off course by every emotional wave. And we're able to navigate even the most turbulent waters with a calm heart. This kind of peace becomes our anchor in difficult times. When life feels overwhelming or uncertain, inner peace grounds us. Instead of feeling pulled in every direction by stress or fear, we can return to this inner calm and find stability. Inner peace is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding a place within ourselves that is resilient and unshakable, regardless of what's happening around us. Cultivating inner peace requires regular practice and a commitment to self-awareness. Meditation, for instance, can be a powerful tool for nurturing this calm center. By sitting quietly and observing our thoughts without judgment, we become familiar with the ebb and flow of our emotions. We learn to let feelings pass without becoming entangled in them, developing a sense of distance that allows us to see clearly and respond wisely. Another way to cultivate inner peace is by practicing mindful breathing during moments of stress. Taking a few slow, deep breaths allows us to center ourselves, creating a pause that breaks the cycle of automatic reactions. This small act of mindfulness helps us step back, observe our emotions, and choose our responses rather than being driven by them. Imagine how different life would feel if, in each challenging moment, we had this calm, steady center to rely on. We would no longer be at the mercy of every conflict, every stressor, or every frustration. Instead, we would face these situations with patience, grace, and clarity. Inner peace empowers us to live from a place of strength and calm, allowing us to navigate life with a confidence that is rooted deep within. So, let's ask ourselves, what steps can we take today to nurture this inner peace? Perhaps it's setting aside a few moments for meditation, practicing mindful breathing, or simply reminding ourselves that we have the power to choose our responses. As we cultivate this inner calm, we create a refuge within that is always there for us, a place of quiet strength, resilience, and profound peace that no external condition can shake. Principle 11, Gratitude. Now, let's explore the powerful principle of gratitude. Gratitude is the practice of recognizing the blessings in our everyday lives, both big and small. In Buddhism, gratitude isn't just about saying, "thank you," it's a way of seeing the world. It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have, from scarcity to abundance, and learning to appreciate the beauty and goodness that are present in each moment. Imagine the difference this could make in our daily lives. At the end of each day, try setting aside a few minutes to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. These don't have to be grand or extraordinary, they can be as simple as a warm meal, a good conversation, or the comfort of a quiet evening. By writing these things down, you're creating a mental shift, training yourself to notice and appreciate the positive aspects of your life. This small daily practice can have a profound impact, gradually transforming your outlook from one of need to one of fulfillment. Gratitude helps us recognize the richness of our lives, even in moments that might otherwise seem ordinary. It teaches us that happiness doesn't have to come from big achievements or major life changes, it can be found in the small, quiet blessings that we often overlook. When we practice gratitude, we learn to find joy in the present moment, rather than always reaching for something more or different. This shift in perspective not only brings us a greater sense of contentment, but it also fosters resilience. In difficult times, gratitude acts as an anchor, helping us stay connected to the things that are going well, even when life feels overwhelming. It reminds us that, despite challenges, there is always something to be thankful for, a lesson, a moment of kindness, a ray of hope. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to the habit of comparison and dissatisfaction. In our culture, it's easy to feel that we need more success, more recognition, more possessions. But gratitude gently guides us back to the present, reminding us that we already have enough, and that the key to true happiness lies in appreciating what we have rather than constantly seeking more. This doesn't mean we don't have goals or aspirations, it simply means that we don't let them overshadow the value of what we already possess. So, how can we bring more gratitude into our lives? Start with small, simple practices. Each night, jot down a few things you're thankful for, or take a moment during the day to pause and mentally acknowledge something positive. You might feel grateful for the warmth of the sun, a friendly smile, or even the ability to take a deep breath. Over time, these moments of gratitude accumulate, shifting our mindset and increasing our overall happiness. Gratitude is a reminder that life is full of gifts if we have the eyes to see them. By choosing gratitude, we choose to focus on abundance rather than lack, on beauty rather than imperfection. We create a life filled with appreciation, which in turn fills our hearts with peace and joy. In this way, gratitude becomes more than a feeling, it becomes a way of living, a path to happiness that is always within reach. As we make gratitude a part of our lives, we find that happiness is not something we have to chase. It's something we can cultivate right here, in the present moment, simply by choosing to see the goodness all around us. Principle 12. Harmony with nature. Our next principle, harmony with nature, reminds us of the wisdom and peace that come from aligning ourselves with the natural rhythms and cycles of life. Nature has a way of showing us that everything in life has its own pace, its own flow, and that each season has something unique to offer. When we pay attention to nature, we begin to see that there's no need to rush or resist. Instead, there's beauty in allowing things to unfold in their own time. Imagine spending a day outdoors, surrounded by trees that adapt seamlessly to each season. In spring, they burst with life; in summer, they stand tall and strong; in autumn, they release their leaves gracefully. And in winter, they rest in quiet stillness, waiting patiently for the cycle to begin again. Nature doesn't cling to any one phase, it simply adapts and flows, responding to change with resilience and grace. This simple act of observing nature can be a powerful reminder of how we, too, can move through life with acceptance and flexibility. Harmony with nature encourages us to approach life with the same patience and resilience that we see in the natural world. When we're in tune with nature, we understand that life will bring both growth and stillness, times of abundance and times of letting go. Rather than resisting these changes, we learn to embrace them, trusting that each phase has its own purpose and beauty. This approach helps us find peace in the inevitable ups and downs of life, knowing that every season, every experience, is a part of our own natural cycle. In practical terms, spending time in nature can help us reconnect with this sense of harmony. Whether it's walking through a park, sitting by a river, or watching a sunset, these moments allow us to pause, to breathe, and to remember our own connection to the world around us. Nature has a calming effect on our minds and bodies, helping us to release stress and find clarity. It grounds us, reminding us that we are part of something larger, something timeless and deeply connected. Nature also teaches us resilience. Just as trees bend with the wind rather than breaking, we, too, can learn to adapt to life's challenges. Observing how nature thrives in balance, we are reminded that there is strength in flexibility and patience in growth. By aligning ourselves with these rhythms, we become more adaptable, more at ease with change, and more in tune with our own inner cycles of energy and rest. Harmony with nature is not just about spending time outdoors, it's a way of seeing and living. It invites us to flow with life rather than fight against it, to trust that just as seasons change, so do we. We learn to appreciate each stage of life, knowing that every moment has something to teach us. Just as nature flourishes through balance, we too can cultivate balance in our lives, honoring times of activity and times of rest, moments of growth and moments of letting go. So, how can we bring this sense of harmony with nature into our daily lives? Start by taking a few moments each day to connect with the natural world. Step outside, breathe in the fresh air, feel the sunlight on your skin, or simply observe the clouds moving across the sky. Let these moments remind you of life's natural rhythms and your place within them. Let nature teach you patience, resilience, and the beauty of allowing things to be as they are. When we embrace harmony with nature, we find peace not just in the quiet forests or open skies but also within ourselves. We learn that, like nature, we are capable of adapting, of finding strength in change, and of thriving in balance. This harmony brings us closer to a life of ease, simplicity, and deep-rooted peace, one where we walk alongside life rather than struggling against it. Principle 13, the middle way. Finally, we come to a central teaching in Buddhism, one that brings together all the principles we've explored, the middle way. The middle way is about finding balance, avoiding the extremes of excess and deprivation in all areas of life. It's a path that encourages us to walk between the highs and lows, cultivating a life of harmony and well-being that's sustainable and fulfilling. Think about the way we approach food, for instance. In the pursuit of health, it's tempting to either cut out all indulgences or to swing in the opposite direction and indulge in whatever we want, whenever we want. The middle way suggests a different approach, one of moderation. Instead of denying ourselves treats entirely or overindulging, we find a healthy balance, allowing ourselves to enjoy small pleasures without letting them dominate our lives. This middle path helps us create a relationship with food, and with our bodies, that feels both satisfying and nurturing. The middle way can be applied to every area of our lives. In our work, it encourages us to strive for success without becoming consumed by ambition. We learn to set meaningful goals and work towards them with dedication, but we don't let our happiness or self-worth depend solely on those achievements. In our relationships, the middle way helps us find balance between closeness and independence, allowing us to love fully without losing ourselves in another person. This balance promotes healthier, more authentic connections with others. The beauty of the middle way is that it frees us from the pitfalls of both excess and deficiency. When we pursue extremes, we're often left feeling empty or overwhelmed. Too much of anything, whether it's work, pleasure, or even self-discipline, can lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. But when we follow the middle way, we create a life that feels whole and complete, not because it's filled with extremes, but because it honors balance. Living the middle way is about listening to ourselves and finding what works for us individually. It's about tuning into our own needs, recognizing when we're pushing ourselves too hard, and knowing when we need to rest. The middle way teaches us that balance is not a fixed point but a continuous adjustment. A mindful awareness of our own rhythms and the world around us. In essence, the middle way is a path of compassion towards ourselves. It reminds us that we don't have to be perfect, that it's okay to make mistakes, and that life is about learning, adjusting, and growing. Instead of demanding perfection, the middle way encourages us to do our best while being kind to ourselves. This gentle, forgiving approach allows us to build a life of contentment and resilience, free from the stress and pressure of extremes. So how can we practice the middle way in our daily lives? Start by noticing where you might be leaning towards extremes, whether it's in work, diet, exercise, or even personal expectations. Ask yourself how you can create a more balanced approach, one that honors both your goals and your well-being. Remember, balance doesn't mean you stop striving or caring, it simply means you pursue what matters with a sense of inner harmony and perspective. When we walk the middle way, we embrace a life of simplicity, joy, and well-being. We find a path that feels true to who we are, one that respects both our ambitions and our limitations. The middle way frees us to live with clarity, intention, and a deep-rooted peace, guiding us gently along a path that is both grounded and fulfilling. Conclusion and reflection. As we come to the end of this journey through Buddhist principles, we find ourselves with a powerful invitation to live with greater awareness, compassion, and balance. These teachings encourage us to step back from the rush and intensity of everyday life, to pause and consider a path that is both gentler and more intentional. Imagine what it would feel like to bring just one of these principles into your daily routine. Maybe you choose non-attachment, allowing yourself to let go of specific outcomes and experience life more freely. Or perhaps you start with gratitude, taking a moment each day to appreciate the small blessings around you. This journey isn't about aiming for perfection or achieving an ideal state. It's about making small, meaningful changes, tiny steps toward inner peace, acceptance, and kindness. Buddhism shows us that transformation doesn't have to be dramatic or immediate. Even the smallest shift in mindset can create a ripple effect, gradually reshaping our lives in profound ways. Picture yourself integrating these principles, not as strict rules but as gentle guides. With each step, you're learning to let go, to trust more, and to allow life to unfold in its natural rhythm. You're discovering that real peace and happiness aren't found in control or perfection but in acceptance and flow. In a world that constantly pulls us towards more, Buddhism teaches us the power of less, the freedom that comes from simplicity, the strength in patience, and the joy in being present. So as you move forward, remember that this journey is yours to shape. There will be days when these principles feel natural and others when they feel challenging. That's okay. Progress is not about moving in a straight line. It's about growing gradually, learning from each experience, and allowing yourself to be human. Let these insights support you, guide you, and remind you of the beauty in letting go. Thank you for joining us, and may these teachings bring you closer to a life of balance, joy, and enduring peace. If you found these insights helpful and want to continue this journey towards a more peaceful, balanced life, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay connected to more inspiring content like this. And if this video resonated with you, please give it a like and share it with friends or family who might benefit from these teachings. Let's spread positivity and wisdom together. Your support truly helps grow our community. Thank you for watching.